ago. I guess this heat and this information we bringing is too goddamn much for you. Come on, man. 3 questions. You said we stuck in 900 BCE. Are you sure about that? You said that through the Nile Valley civilization, you're going to give women back their just due. Are you sure about that? Because you're going to have to answer all those 3 questions. But I'm just giving you the surface of it, okay? And the reason why I'm asking you is because if you answer how you gave it in the videos, you're going to hang yourself by that horse like my brother. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. Judaism is the African way of life. Judaism was the religion developed in Africa by African people. It was adopted and adapted in a similar fashion to the Yoruba Orisha worship. Voodoo, Santeria, Lukumi, which is true. When you take a look at the Voodoo priesthood, you take a look at the Levitical priesthood, they're identical, okay? Which us as so-called Haitians are the tribe of Levi, right? So we dealt with the Voodoo, and because we anciently dealt with the Levitical priesthood, right? And it's still being co-opted and altered by non-Africans today. So what is a lot of the dogma in it, and what are a lot of the flaws in the so-called Judeo-Christian ideology is European corrupting of our actual customs, okay? To speak of an African influence on Judaism is like speaking of an African influence on Orisha worship, which is African, right? It is not an African influence, it is still African and represents African way of life. Dakwah points to the story of Jacob in Genesis 32 from the 29th verse to 24 verse to 29th verse, where the angel comes and renamed him Jacob, calling him Asrei. Americans and Europeans assume that the Bible is about them, but the Bible is about my ancient ancestors and me. This is what Dakwah said. A con man said the Bible is about my ancient ancestors and me, not no goddamn cracker. That's what Dakwah said, an actual Akan brother from Africa. Okay, you see that? Related to many of the Ashanti and Akan slaves that was put on the boats and brought especially over to the West Indies. Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the name of the Most High God in Israel, in the name of His only begotten Son. Okay, double honor to my elders and Shalom to the Akim out there. It's your brother, the Guerrilla Hebrew, you know, finishing up where I left off, dealing with this dude, Shakka Ahmose, okay, and all his critiques and all that stuff he keep talking about Israel, man. Hey, you gotta watch it, Shak, man. I'm just gonna keep it all the way. You need to watch out. Because then I was watching, you know, the 2-hour video, that long video, how he was showing his library and all these books, and he pulled out a book about a slave narrative. Oh, you got to read the slave narratives. Oh, y'all need to be quiet. The slaves ain't talking about the Israelites. Look, man, and you got to watch. Your mouth is writing checks that damn horse lot can't cash, my brother. You need to go check out my scholarship. Go put in YouTube, Guerrilla Hebrew, did the white man give us the Bible, and show where I show countless sources of countless slave narratives from countless sources all over the South, attesting to and identifying with the empowerment that using the Bible from the perspective as the blacks being the Israelites are. All right, look that up, okay? And you can see the scholarship of over an hour or about an hour lecture where I go and I show countless source after source after source, man. Okay, and don't forget, you see this Haitian flag right here. I'm Haitian, okay? The Haitian Revolution. Goody Bookman, to some of it, to all of them, okay, they used the Bible as a tool of black supremacy, and it fueled the revolution, and it fueled the decapitation and the burning of every cracker on that island, man, okay, every cracker on that island, okay. So don't be over here talking all down. I want you to show me where in the Americas the Book of the Dead fueled the revolution that led to black liberation. Show it to me. You can't, but I can show you right here, my country where my forefathers come from, okay, Haiti, la Union fait la force, okay, you see what I'm saying? I come from that, all right, and we use the Bible in order to do that, okay? Legendary brothers, all right, that killed these crackers, man, okay? So that, this is what black supremacy is about, and the black supremacy is in that Bible, okay? And there's various ways to prove that, all right? So don't be sitting here talking about no slave narrative, boy, because I got countless sources and references on the slave narratives and slaves identifying themselves as Hebrew Israelites. Okay, all throughout slavery, all over the Americas, in various plantations, different states, all that. So don't come with that, man. Take that argument and put it in the suitcase and act like you never brought it out, because you're going to lose on that. But what I want to get into a little bit of the eschatology, because that's where we left off, the eschatology. And like I said, I commend you for making that, for making that claim. Because like I said, other individuals did not have the prowess to deal with that terminology and that claim and that ideological part of the two cultures and systems. Okay, so I appreciate your critique of the eschatology, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose it, and I'm going to show you that critique is not right and exact. Okay, This is Ecclesiastes 3:16. And moreover, I saw under the sun meaning here on earth, the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So here is where the judgment happens. All right. Because what happens is after you die, your spirit goes into a neutral point in another dimension and awaits its time to come back here on earth. This is scientifically proven. Well, I mean, not so necessarily scientifically proven, but we can observe a similar cycle in science because our lives and our spirits are on a cycle according to the so-called Hebraic perspective, okay? From the Hebrew Israelite perspective, this is what occurs. What occurs is your spirit ascends into the fourth dimension and awaits its time to come back onto this earth through a vessel, whatever fleshly vessel is ordained unto you. You understand what I'm saying? That is not something that's a part of the Egyptian eschatology. The Egyptian eschatology is something full of outlandish mythology. So for you to even make that comparison in and of itself was, I mean, I understand, I'm going to be honest, I understand why you made it, but you made it based off of a preconceived notion in regards to dogmatic teachings of the Bible that is accepted by the mainstream. That's what that entire premise of you making that claim is even based upon. It's not actually based upon Bible verses and scriptures. According to the Bible, hell is the grave or a state of condition and oppression that you live out on the earth. Heaven is a kingdom that is yet to be established on the earth, but there's also heaven in the sense of the sky, heaven in the sense of, outer space, and heaven in the sense of the fourth dimension. But these are not places where you receive judgment in your afterlife. It clearly, as we clearly just read in Ecclesiastes 3:16, the judgment is here on earth. This is when you live out your judgment. When you come back down in your new vessel, your new body, which body means what? Abode, home, right? A home of what? Home for your spirit. Okay, I understand that Egyptian theology and mythology, or, Egyptian ideology, Kemetic ideology rather, does have themes of reincarnation. And I'm not going to say that reincarnation is a unique thing to us or that Kemet doesn't have reincarnation in it. But as far as the eschatological part, they vary differently, okay? There, like I said, the mythology, the deep-rooted mythology in Kemetic ideology and eschatology is far more different than that of Israel, okay? You can only go to Catholicism and Sanhedrin influenced dogmatic doctrines, which are heavily influenced by Cushite mythology and Kemetic mythology. Okay, you could go there because those are skewed versions of this actual book. They're not with the things that are written here in this actual book. And that's where the problem lies, brother. Okay, so again, good claim on the eschatology, but close but no cigar. You're mistaken on the actual biblical eschatology. Heaven and hell, all of that bullshit, that's not biblical in the sense in which that most people understand it to be. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, that's out of the window, all right? And, again, for you to sit here and critique and say that we follow mythology and things of that nature, when you open up that Egyptian Book of the Dead, that is epic mythology in there, okay? Epic mythology. But there's something I definitely want to let you know, my brother Shakka, is that what you do, you make terrible errors. And I'm going to tell you someplace you err. You disqualify yourself. You disqualify yourself from being non-objective. That's your issue. You disqualify yourself from being non-objective because you rely far too much upon perception, your own personal perception of things in your opinions. And that's your problem. And that's why you disqualify yourself from being non-objective. You are far too Kemetically biased when you absorb information to truly give an accurate scholastic opinion on something, okay? Now, you talk about you only respect PhDs and you only read PhDs. Well, let me tell you something. There's a PhD by the name of Dr. L.M. Beret, okay? 1986 Vanderbilt University graduate, a who's who in theology in America, and he's very familiar with Egyptology. In my first interaction with him, and I give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in the name of His only begotten Son. In my first interaction with him, we engaged in an immediate debate on the street. And I schooled him to archaeological lessons that he, as a profound accredited scholar, didn't even know. I put him up on new biblical archaeology that he didn't know about. Pottery that he didn't know about that exists in Israel, that he didn't even know about. To the point where he respects me so much that every single time he sees me, he makes sure to give me 30 minutes to an hour of my time to sit here and go back and forth and chop it up about ancient Israel, ancient Egypt, Sumer, all of that. And I build with him and I get information from him. You understand what I'm saying? So you're dealing with that PhD. And what he told me, if you want your scholastic opinion accepted, You have to be totally non-biased when absorbing information. And your problem is, scholastically, you are always comedically biased, man. And the fact that you're comedically biased disqualifies your commentary and your scholastic opinion and perspective in a lot of ways, brother, because you are far too biased. And you can ask, man, let me tell you something. You call Real Black Atheist Uncle Keck right now, or Angozi, Jonathan, them brothers from the Ahmose Squad, Ishmael Allah Bay, you understand what I'm saying, and other various brothers that I've dealt with in the conscious community that are not Hebrew Israelites, that deal with the Kemetic perspective, even that deal with the Moorish perspective, dealing with the Muslim perspective, dealing with, you know, the brother Imam Bashir and things like that, right? And they'll all tell you that I can absorb and give opinions without bias, okay? Especially Uncle Ken. I done sat on the phone with him for long periods of time and discussed various things and topics, and I've given non-biased opinions, and I've required it of him to also give non-biased opinions and to keep us honest. When you're biased, you're not being honest, okay? You're like marking out for Kemet too much because you feel so entrenched in it. You're like somebody who was raised up in Catholicism, brother. You were raised up in a religion, and you are so devout to that religion that it skews your thoughts sometimes and discredits your scholastic opinion. So what you're going to have to do is step up out of your box a little bit and let go of that bias and call things straight down the middle sometimes. Okay, because it's affecting your scholarship. Not saying that you're not a scholar and that you're not a true researcher and you don't know what it is you're talking about. You do know what it is you're talking about sometimes, but sometimes your opinion is too skewed because you were too deeply indoctrinated and entrenched with Nile Valley civilization to be honest about certain things. Okay? So that's something that's got to be addressed, and I got to let that be known right now. And he speaks about different origin stories and their similarities and it's plagiarized. Now, here's the thing, right? If two different people have the same story of origin, does that lead to you to believe that it's plagiarization or that they are of a common origin? That doesn't even make any sense. If me and you came out of the same womb, we grew up in the same hood and the same projects, and we told the same story, right, about our origin, does that mean I plagiarized you because you said it first or you were a little older than me? That doesn't, that's what I'm saying. You cannot be so illogical, and that's why I got to keep attacking the logic of a lot of so-called Kemetic dudes. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're being too illogical and you're rushing to inaccurate conclusions because you're marking out for Kemet. And that's the problem. Don't be a Kemetic mark. Be a true scholar. Scholars have to take a look and dissect and digest and absorb information from a non-biased perspective. You cannot be biased. Okay? It will affect and discredit your opinion. You know, something that I didn't like is the fact how you brought up the Bible and you said, well, this is the only book you need. Why you guys go outside the Bible? This is the only book we need. We don't need to go outside the Bible. Truth be told, we can look at world history, prophecy, history written before it even actually happened, which validates the Bible, the prophecies. You can't go nowhere in Kemet and show any prophecies, okay, other than that propagandist prophecy that was written after the thing occurred to be made look like it's a prophecy because Kemet didn't have any prophets. Let's be honest here. Israel had prophets. We can see things like the Roman Empire being wrote about in grave detail. Like you said, let's entertain the fact that what the Bible was written. Let's entertain the fact, which is not true, but I want to entertain your argument that it didn't exist until the writing of the Septuagint, right? Until the scribing of the Septuagint. That's fine. Let's entertain that idea. The Roman Empire didn't rise in the Septuagint. The Roman Empire is described in vivid detail in biblical prophecy in the book of Daniel. Now, in the New Testament, it is also referenced in the New Testament, but it's written in the book of Daniel. Okay. Which, like I said, we'll give it only until the time of the Sanhedrin. You understand what I'm saying? But still, it's written in vivid detail before it happened. Can you explain to me why that is? Because the Bible has prophecies in it, and you can't deal with those prophecies, my brother, because you don't have prophecies in Egypt. Egypt had no idea it was going to fall. Jerusalem did. Egypt had no idea the white man was going to rise and try to paint white images on black faces. Israel did. You see what I'm saying? So what that does is take points away from the Kemetic Nile Valley civilization in and of itself. But like I said, we could go, we don't have to go outside the Bible, but in engaging with certain individuals wanting more substantiating proof, we have. But then you're going to criticize us for going outside of the Bible when it was y'all that criticized us for sticking in the Bible. So as soon as we go outside of the Bible, now you don't want it to go. I guess this heat and this information we bring in is too goddamn much for you. Come on, man. No, us as Hebrew Israelites, we not to be played with. I seen you go up to a few brothers camp. I just seen a video. You went to the GMS brothers camp. You went to IUIC. I mean, you know, that's cute and stuff. But guess what? I wouldn't, as far as especially what I seen with the IUIC, I wouldn't have handled it like that. You know what I'm saying? You got questions you trying to learn, you trying to get schooled, we can school you, brother. Or we can build, whatever you trying to do. You know, but I'm looking forward to further dialoguing with you and continuing this topic. We need to deal with some of these things. You know what I'm saying? But you're not a stupid brother. You're a bright brother, okay? But the thing is, we need to discuss some certain things. You got to come up off that comedic bias and start dwelling in the neutral lane so we can really scholastically chop some things up and build on some things from a non-biased perspective, brother. You got to get rid of that bias or your scholastic opinion will not be respected. I'm just telling you what the scholars tell me, brother. You know, I'm just telling you what the scholars tell me, okay? And I respect that neutral ground to where if we could come to a neutral ground where I could put for a second everything to the side and you could put for a second everything to the side. Let me tell you something. I got a series, right, that we do on my YouTube channel called Israelites Undercover, where we call various pastors. And I come basically on an undercover level, like I'll call a pastor and I'll say, yeah, I seen these guys on the street corner. They were saying this, this, and that. And I'll point some scriptures out to the pastor. And I told the pastor, I said, look, put yourself out. I said, what's your race? He said, Caucasian. I said, put yourself out of it. I said, from a non-objective standpoint, can you see the point that somebody would make if they use these scriptures to say that the Israelites are black people, and these scriptures to say that the Edomites are white people, and these scriptures to justify the enslavement of the white race? You know what this motherfucker told me? Yes. A straight up white man told me yes, he saw that point, even though that it means that him and his people would be enslaved. You see what I'm saying? So what you got to do is humble yourself down, because that's an issue you that I've seen you have. You've been having too much pride, brother. You got to humble yourself down and deal with everything from a non-biased perspective, because it's going to improve the scholastic conversation that we can have. You know, aside from debates and things of that nature, I'm talking about just scholastically building, because we're going to have to build it. We're going to have some conversations before we really even get in the ring. Let's talk about some things, because like I said, you're a bright brother. And we can definitely build on different points, man. You know, especially with what you did to the Muslims, man. I really respected that scholarship. Because I'm familiar with much of it. So the fact that you did it, I say, yeah, man, that brother, he went in. I debated the Muslim, but I gave him the diet version of some of that scholarship. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just wanted to throw that and address some of that, man. You know, oh, and real quick, too. When you seen the brothers over there, Israel United in Christ, you said, oh, it said the Jews, but they not Jews, they black Hebrew Israelites. Okay, don't listen. Another issue I got with a lot of you comedic dudes is when you play that sick-ass semantical game. Do not play that sick-ass semantical game. Number one, the term Jews. What does the term Jew originate from? Number one, it originates from the Babylonian captivity of the Israelites. The term Jew is given to the kingdom of Judah, the southern kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the so-called African-American, West Indian, and Haitian men. Okay, for the record. All right? That's who the Jews were. So during the time of Christ, when Christ was in Judea, it referred to them as the Jews. Why? Because those were the three tribes that remained in the land of Israel, while the other tribes came over here to the Americas and are now what you know as the Latinos and Native Americans. Okay, so that's what it means when the Jews. As a nation, we are Hebrew Israelites. The black is something that the so-called white man put on it, because you don't have to add in the fact that Hebrew Israelites are black. The Bible clearly tells you that the Hebrew Israelites are a black people and a black nation of various shades of brown. Not even black in all actuality. We various shades of brown from dark to light, right? But the whole thing is, those Jewish people are identity thieves. They're not actual Jews. You know they're Khazarians. We all know they're Khazarian Ashkenazis. You can't be an Ashkenazi Jew according to the Bible. Ashkenazi are the seed of Japheth, and Israelites are of the seed of Shem. So all those things, don't play that new speak game. According to the Bible, the Jews and the Hebrew Israelites are so-called black people, and are us, the black people here in America, and also in parts of Africa and all over the world. Okay, so I want to make that plain and clear. Don't come playing that semantics. Let's deal with real scholarship, no pseudo scholarship, and I look forward to building with you and debating you, brother. Shalom.